They told you to just be fun, to always laugh, always entertain, always be the guy who brightens her day. And for a while, you believed it. You thought charm was your weapon, and your job was to be liked. So you cracked jokes, told stories, lit up group chats with memes and banter. You were the guy who made her laugh, the one who seemed easy to talk to. And then you watched her slowly fade. You watched her start replying later, colder. Her eyes stopped lingering. Her voice changed. You became her entertainment, not her obsession. Because here's the truth, fun is for friends. Mystery is for men who haunt her. You were too easy to understand, too emotionally legible, too available. And what she imagined about you died the second you gave her everything she wanted without her ever needing to earn it. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to dismantle the cheap dopamine clown mask and rebuild yourself as the man she can't stop imagining when she's quiet, alone, and wondering what you're hiding. You need to disappear from her dopamine loop. That little slot machine thrill she gets when your name lights up her screen. Kill it. Not out of spite, but because the real power isn't in being seen. It's in being wondered about. The guy she obsesses over doesn't flood her feed with jokes. He doesn't initiate 99% of the time. He doesn't always answer. And when he does, his words aren't filler, they're charged. His silence isn't absence. It's presence with weight. You think being unpredictable means being funny? She thinks it means being unfathomable. And when a woman can't fully read you, she builds stories about you. She creates fantasies around your stillness. She fills the silence with her own curiosity. She starts asking herself, what's he thinking right now? Why didn't he reply yet? Does he like me? Or is he just like this with everyone? And most importantly, who is he when he's not with me? The moment a woman starts asking those questions, she's already spiraling, not in love, in obsession. Because obsession is always born from imagination, and imagination only survives in mystery. So what are you doing? Giving her access to every damn room in your head. You send long texts, you over-explain. You tell her everything you feel before she even asks. You show your past wounds like a badge of depth, thinking she'll find it honest. But let me ask you this, do you remember the last guy she chased like a storm? Did he explain himself, or did he move like a riddle? She's not running from your kindness. She's running from your clarity. The clearer you become, the less she dreams. The more available you are, the more she mentally shelves you. You didn't lose her because you weren't enough. You lost her because you were complete in her mind. There was nothing left to figure out. No next layer, no unspoken question. She wants to wonder what kind of man you are. She doesn't want to be told. You think honesty means giving her a roadmap to your soul. But real honesty is restraint. The man who holds something back is the man who owns himself. She doesn't want your truth. She wants your tension. Most guys chase the idea of being liked, so they become the fun guy. But fun is a dead end. It's loud. It's bright. It's shallow. And the second she gets bored, you're nothing but noise. Mystery. On the other hand, lingers. It shows up in small moments. The way you don't rush to speak. The way you smile like you know something she doesn't. The way you listen more than you talk. It's when your silence feels louder than other men's words. It's when she walks away from you and starts to feel the echo of what you didn't say. And then it hits her. You're not playing the same game. You're not trying to be her comfort. You're not trying to win her over. You're not even trying to be liked. You're just there, on your own frequency, unmoved, unreadable, and slowly, unforgettable. Because the moment you stop chasing fun and start building mystery, something primal shifts. You stop being the man she flirts with and become the man she fantasizes about. She's no longer waiting for your next joke. She's wondering what your silence means. She's replaying every word you said, trying to decode you, and you didn't say much. That's what makes it powerful. Now ask yourself, how often do you give her this space to imagine you? If you're always texting, always replying, always filling the air with chatter, she doesn't need to imagine anything. She already has you. You're in her hand, in her feed, on demand. And what's on demand is never desired. The more you offer yourself without her asking, the more invisible you become. So stop. Pull back. Not as a trick. Not as a game. But as a man reclaiming his silence. She doesn't need more noise. She needs something she can't touch. Something she can't name. That's you. If you let her reach for it, when you stop chasing fun, you start moving like a man with secrets. And not the kind of secrets you use to manipulate her. The kind that shape your entire presence. You walk into a room and people feel something different. You don't need to announce yourself. You don't need to dominate. You just are calm, measured, elusive. She sees you talking to someone else and she watches your expression. She studies your silence. She starts wondering what it would feel like to be the one you're speaking to like that. That's mystery. That's the gravitational pull you've never felt before because you were too busy trying to be liked. You were too focused on chasing her laugh instead of haunting her thoughts. You didn't realize that her most intense emotions don't come when she's smiling. They come when she's searching. Searching for meaning, for certainty, for answers you won't give her. And the truth is, women don't respect men they can fully predict. You don't need to become cold or cruel, but you need to stop trying to be her entertainment. You're not her jester. You're not her therapist. You're not her emotional support character. You're a man. You're her mystery. That means some things stay unsaid. Some moments remain unshared. Some pieces of you don't belong to her. Not because you're hiding, but because you have a world beyond her. A path, a purpose, a pulse that beats outside her orbit. That's the part she aches for. That's what flips the switch in her brain from he's nice to, why can't I stop thinking about him? Because every time she thinks she understands you, you reveal a new layer, quietly, without forcing it, without needing her approval. And that tension builds. It builds when she realizes you're not texting her back right away, not because you're playing games, but because you're busy, because you don't revolve around her. It builds when she senses that your calmness isn't passive, it's earned. It's the calm of a man who doesn't need to prove himself. It builds when your eyes linger just a second longer, but your words don't explain the look. That's when she starts imagining, projecting, craving. And this is the part most men never understand. The fantasy she creates about you will always be more powerful than anything you could say. So stop trying to convince her. Start letting her invent you. Give her less information and more space. Say what matters and let the silence do the rest. When she texts, "What are you thinking?" you don't need to spill your soul. You say, "A lot." But that's for another time. When she asks, "Are you seeing someone?" you don't answer with panic or pride. You raise an eyebrow and say, "What do you think?" When she says, "I don't know what to make of you," you lean back, hold her gaze, and reply, "That's the point." Because the moment she's trying to figure you out, she's already invested, already imagining, already entangled. And all you had to do was stop being the guy chasing fun and start being the man who lets her chase the unknown. Think back. The women who obsessed over you, did you chase them with gifts and grins? Or did they come to you when you were most detached, most focused, most quiet? That's not an accident. That's biology. That's psychology. That's power. You're taught that being emotionally available is attractive. And yes, earned vulnerability is magnetic. But poured out too soon, it's repellent. She doesn't want you to cry in the first week. She doesn't want your entire story on day 2. She wants to know that there's something sacred inside you and that she has to earn the privilege of seeing it. If you give it to her too easily, she disrespects you. Not out of cruelty, but because what comes cheap is never treasured. So if you're wondering why she keeps choosing the mysterious guy who barely talks over you, the answer is simple. He gives her space to imagine. You give her answers. He creates tension. You diffuse it. He speaks in ellipses. You speak in full stops. He makes her wonder. You make her yawn. And you don't need to become him, but you do need to stop being the opposite. Your presence shouldn't feel like a comfort blanket. It should feel like a storm she's trying to read. Not because you're mean, not because you're broken, but because you value your depth too much to pour it out for free. She needs to be intrigued. She needs to feel like you could vanish at any time, not out of flakiness, but because your life is too full to be constantly orbiting hers. That's the paradox of real masculine attraction. The more you detach from needing her reaction, the more she chases your presence. The less you try to impress, the more she's impressed by what you don't say. The second you stop chasing fun, you become the man who walks away from noise and into silence. And she'll follow that silence again and again just to try and decode it. She'll follow that silence because it scares her and excites her. Because in a world full of men begging to be understood, you remain a question mark, a beautiful, maddening, unfinished thought. And women don't crave what's explained. They crave what echoes. She can't replay a joke in her head for days. She can't daydream about the guy who gave her a step-by-step blueprint of his personality. But she can lose sleep over the man who walked away mid-thought. The one who stared into her soul and said nothing. You want to become unforgettable, then master the art of restraint. It's not about being cold. It's about being complete. When you're whole, when you're no longer searching for validation, your energy shifts. You don't chase highs. You don't chase women. You don't chase fun. You become the source. You walk slower. You speak softer. You answer less. Not out of arrogance, out of certainty. Because the man who builds mystery doesn't need her attention. He already knows who he is. He's sculpted himself in solitude. He's bled, suffered, trained, and sharpened in places she'll never see. So when he stands across from her, she feels it. She feels the weight of his silence, the texture of his presence. She realizes he doesn't need this moment. He's simply in it. And that's terrifying, because it means she has to earn him. You've spent too long trying to prove yourself. You were told if you opened up fast, she'd feel close. That if you gave her access, she'd reward it with love. But you were wrong. You gave her answers when she was craving questions. You gave her comfort when she was craving chaos. The masculine doesn't seduce by giving, it seduces by being. The mystery isn't a trick. It's the reflection of a life she hasn't been invited into yet. You don't build it by being clever. You build it by being deep. Read, train, travel. Sit with your own mind. Get bored. Get uncomfortable. Learn to love your own silence. Because the man who can sit in his own emptiness without reaching for distraction becomes a black hole of attraction. Not everyone will understand him. But the ones who do, they don't walk away because they know. That kind of man doesn't come around twice. There's a woman right now imagining someone. And it's not the guy who kept texting. Not the one who was always available. Not the one who tried so hard to keep her entertained. It's the one who left her wondering. The one who didn't need her attention. The one who walked away with a look she can't forget. You become that man when you stop chasing the next high. When you stop treating women like a stage you have to perform on. She doesn't want the clown. She doesn't want the open book. She wants the novel she can't stop rereading. Because every time she thinks she's figured out the ending, she finds a new page. And that's you. If you stop talking so much, if you stop smiling so hard, if you stop giving away every thought just to fill the silence, let her wonder. Let her replay the last moment in her mind. Over and over. Let her sit with the question, why do I feel so drawn to him? She won't know, she'll just feel it. And that's the difference between fun and fascination. Fun makes her laugh. Fascination makes her ache. And she'll never forget the ache. So leave her with it. Let her sit in it. Let her invent stories about your silence. Let her wonder what you're doing when you're not around. Because the man who creates that kind of mystery doesn't have to chase. He walks, and the world watches. He speaks, and the room leans in. He leaves, and they remember him. Always.